Fernandes is the Premier League Player of the Season, and his words, after winning, it will give every Red Devil goosebumps. Let us be honest for a second. How many times have you watched a Manchester United player lift an individual trophy and felt deep down that it just did not quite feel right? Maybe the team was struggling. Maybe the player felt out of place. Maybe the moment was bittersweet because the club itself was falling apart around them. This time is different. This time, Bruno Fernandes, standing at the top of English football as the 2025/26 Premier League Player of the Season, feels completely and totally earned. And what he said after picking up that award, that is the part every single Red Devil needs to read. So grab a cup of tea, find a comfortable seat, because this one is special. How did we even get here? If you had told a Manchester United fan 3 or 4 years ago that Bruno Fernandes would one day be named the best player in the entire Premier League for a whole season, most of them would have believed it. The talent was always there. Everyone could see it. But there were years where the team around him was so broken that even his best could not save them from embarrassment. Remember those dark days, the heavy defeats, the chaos in the dressing room, the managers coming and going. Bruno was always there, always fighting, always caring, even when others looked like they had already given up. But something changed when Carrick took over as manager. United started to look like a real team again. The pressing was sharper, the performances were more confident, and Bruno Fernandes, he did not just improve, he exploded. This season he has been absolutely unstoppable. The numbers that tell the story. Before we get into what Bruno said, let us just take a moment to appreciate what he actually did on the pitch this season. Because the numbers are genuinely jaw-dropping. Bruno Fernandes equaled the Premier League single-season assist record with 20 assists. That means he is now sitting alongside two of the greatest creative players the league has ever seen. Thierry Henry set the record in the 2002/03 season when he was at the peak of his powers at Arsenal. Kevin De Bruyne matched it in the 2019/20 season when he was widely considered the best midfielder in the world, and now Bruno Fernandes has joined that list. Think about that for a second. Two legends, one Manchester United captain, the same record. The record equaling assist came in a 3-2 win over Nottingham Forest when Bruno played the ball across the box and Brian Mbeumo turned it in. The whole stadium knew what it meant. With one game still left against Brighton, there was even a chance he could break the record outright and stand alone at the top. History was being written in real time, but assists were only part of the story. Bruno led his team in more than 20 individual statistical categories this season. Chances created, big chances created, successful passes. He was basically everywhere on that pitch, pulling strings, finding pockets of space, and making the game look easy even when it was not. He also won the Football Writers Association Footballer of the Year award, becoming the first Manchester United player to receive that honour since Wayne Rooney back in 2010. He got 45% of the votes from football journalists across England, narrowly beating Arsenal's Declan Rice to the award. And of course, he won the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year for a record 5th time at Manchester United. 5 times. No one else has ever done that. Not Cristiano Ronaldo, not David De Gea, not Eric Cantona. Bruno Fernandes is now the player fans at Old Trafford have voted as their best more times than anyone in the club's modern history. So, yes, the Premier League Player of the Season was absolutely the right call. There was no debate. There was no controversy. Bruno earned every single vote. What he said and why it matters now here is the part that makes this whole story so much more than just another individual trophy being handed out at the end of the season. When Bruno Fernandes spoke after being named Player of the Season, he did not just say thank you and move on. He said something that every Red Devil needed to hear. Something that showed exactly who this man is and what he is really about. He said that individual awards are not something he will ever chase. His aim will always be to win trophies and not individual accolades. What he wants to achieve is winning the league and winning the Champions League with Manchester United. Read that again. This man has just been named the best player in the entire Premier League. He has matched a record held by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. He has won every individual award going. And his response is to say that none of it is what he is really chasing. He is chasing the Premier League title with Manchester United. He is chasing the Champions League with Manchester United. Is that not exactly what every single supporter of this club has been waiting years to hear from a player in that shirt? Not just a nice quote for the cameras, not just empty words. This man turned down chances to leave. He stayed when things were at their worst. And now that things are getting better, he is making it crystal clear where his eyes are focused. That is a leader. That is a captain. That is exactly the kind of player Manchester United has been missing for too long. He could have left, and he knows it. One of the most important things Bruno said after winning the award was about his future at the club. And he was completely open about it. He said he could have left Manchester United 2 years ago or 3 years ago. He said he could have gone last season as well. And he said it was serious. Now think about what that means. At various points over the last few seasons, there were clubs willing to take Bruno Fernandes. There were offers, there were conversations, real ones, the kind that could have taken him away from Old Trafford and into a more successful setup somewhere else in Europe. And he said no. Every single time. Why? Because he really likes being at this club and because he really believes that being successful at Manchester United is something he would not get by going somewhere else. He said Manchester United is special. That is not a player who is just riding out his contract and looking for the exit. That is a man who has chosen this club over and over again, even when staying was the harder choice. How many players in the modern game can you say that about? How many top-level players have had the chance to leave for easier glory elsewhere and said no because they believe in the project? Bruno Fernandes is one of those rare ones. And for a fan base that has watched stars leave, seen players put in transfer requests, and had its heart broken more times than it can count, hearing a player like Bruno say those words should mean everything. What does he want from his teammates? Here is something else Bruno said that really stood out. When he was having a bit of a laugh with his teammate Joshua Zirkzee about who would win the Player of the Season award next year, Fernandes said something genuinely beautiful. He said he hopes next year he is not even involved in the conversation for winning that trophy, because that would mean that Amad Diallo has stepped up, that Alejandro Garnacho has stepped up, that Rasmus Højlund has stepped up. If they start scoring goals and providing assists, they will be the ones getting all the attention. And Bruno Fernandes said he would be the happiest person in the world. Take a moment with that. The man who just won Player of the Season is already looking ahead and saying that his ultimate dream is for his teammates to outshine him. Not because he wants to fade away, but because if they are scoring goals and creating moments, that means Manchester United is winning. That means the team is succeeding. And for Bruno, that is worth infinitely more than any personal trophy. That is the mindset of a true captain. Not someone hoarding glory, someone trying to spread it. There is a question worth asking here. When was the last time Manchester United had a player like this? Someone who genuinely puts the team above everything, who stays when others would leave, who sets records and then immediately talks about wanting his teammates to break them? It has been a long time. Maybe since the days of Roy Keane, maybe longer. Bruno Fernandes is in that conversation now, not just as a great player, as a great leader. The season in context. To fully understand why this Player of the Season award feels so important, you need to think about where Manchester United were not too long ago. The club had gone through one of the most painful periods in its recent history. Managers came and went. Hundreds of millions were spent on players who did not perform. The football was often unwatchable. The atmosphere around the club was toxic. Fans were frustrated. Owners were being protested. The whole thing felt like it was falling apart. And through all of that, Bruno Fernandes turned up every single week and gave everything he had. Yes, there were moments when his performances dipped. Yes, there were times when his frustration showed on the pitch. He is a passionate man. He wears his heart on his sleeve. When things were going badly, you could see it on his face. But he never stopped trying. He never hid. He never stopped caring. And when Michael Carrick came in and steadied the ship, Bruno responded to the new environment brilliantly. Under Carrick, United started playing with more structure and more confidence. Bruno started to look less like a lone ranger trying to carry a broken team and more like the conductor of an orchestra that was finally learning to play together. The results followed. United's resurgence under Carrick gave the whole club a sense of direction and belief that had been missing for a long time. And Bruno was right at the centre of all of it. Winning Player of the Season is not just an individual achievement. It is a symbol of a club that is finding its way back. Is this a turning point for Manchester United? Let us talk about the bigger picture here. Because while celebrating Bruno Fernandes and what he has done individually, there is a larger question that every Red Devil should be thinking about. Is this the moment Manchester United really starts to turn things around? The signs are genuinely exciting. Under Michael Carrick, the team has started to play with a clear identity. Young players like Amad Diallo and Alejandro Garnacho have grown into real threats. Rasmus Højlund has shown flashes of what he is capable of. The foundations are being laid. And with Bruno Fernandes leading the way, setting the standards every single day in training and on match day, the younger players have someone to look up to and learn from. Bruno himself talked about how much he wants to see those younger players step up. He wants Amad and Garnacho and Højlund to become the ones grabbing headlines. That will only happen if they keep developing and keep working. And having a captain who pushes them while also believing in them is exactly the kind of environment where development happens. There is also the question of trophies. Bruno made it clear that winning the Premier League and winning the Champions League with Manchester United is his ultimate goal. Those are not small ambitions. Those are the biggest prizes in English and European football. And he said those words with complete seriousness, not as a soundbite, but as a genuine statement of intent. Can Manchester United win the Premier League in the next few seasons? Can they compete in Europe at the highest level with the right investment in the squad, the right manager in place, and a captain like Bruno Fernandes leading from the front? It does not feel impossible. It feels closer than it has in a long time. What this award means for the Red Devils community. For the fans, this Player of the Season award is more than just a bit of silverware. It is a moment to feel proud. When you support Manchester United, you carry something with you all the time. A sense of what this club is supposed to be. A standard that was set during the glory years. A belief that one day the club will get back to that level. Watching Bruno Fernandes lift this award and then speak the way he did is a reminder of why that belief is still worth holding on to. Here is a player who chose this club over and over again, who works every single day to be better, who sets records and then says his goal is to win team trophies, not individual ones, who wants his teammates to shine even more brightly than he does. That is the spirit of a winner, and it is contagious. The players around him feel it, the fans feel it, the whole club feels it when a captain carries himself like that. So yes, celebrate this. Celebrate Bruno Fernandes. Celebrate what he has done this season and what it means for the future of this club. Put his name alongside the legends, because on the evidence of this season, that is exactly where he belongs. The one game left. As things stand, there is still one match left in the Premier League season. Manchester United against Brighton. Bruno Fernandes goes into that game having already matched the assist record, but with one game remaining, there is a chance he could break it outright. A 21st assist in a single Premier League season would put him in a place where no one else has ever been. Will he get it? Will his teammates be able to convert one of his chances and make history happen? That is the beauty of football. You never quite know. But what you do know is that Bruno Fernandes will be out there giving everything, trying to win the game for his team. And if an assist comes along the way, then brilliant. And if it does not, he has already had a season that will be talked about for years. Whatever happens against Brighton, this has been a season to remember. A season that gave Manchester United fans something to genuinely smile about. A message to Bruno from every Red Devil. If you are part of this community, if you bleed red, if you wake up on match days with that familiar mix of hope and nerves in your stomach, then you will understand what it means to have a player like Bruno Fernandes. He is not perfect. No player is. There are days when his temper gets the better of him, days when a decision does not come off, days when even his best is not quite enough, but he comes back. Every single time. He gives everything. Every single time. And when he says that Manchester United is special and that he would not want to be anywhere else, you believe him. Because you have watched him. You have seen him stay when staying was hard. You have seen him fight when others walked away. He is one of us. A proper Red Devil. So here is to you, Bruno. Player of the season. Record equaler, 5-time Sir Matt Busby winner, FWA Footballer of the Year. But more than all of that, a captain who actually means it when he says he wants to win at this club. The Premier League and the Champions League are the targets. The belief is growing. The team is coming together. And when it finally happens, when Manchester United stand on top of English football again and walk through the streets of Manchester with that trophy, Bruno Fernandes will have been one of the biggest reasons why. The journey is not over. In many ways, it is just beginning. Stay loud, stay red, and never stop believing. Up the Reds.